All right, welcome back to Gun Culture Radio. Got my dad on this time, and Derrick again as usual.
Cool.
And first, we'll start out by thanking SDI for their sponsorship. SDI.edu, really cool opportunity for anybody who wants to be a gunsmith. It's an online accredited university. I hear that they are working on a 1911 build soon.
Yes.
So Derrick should be excited about that.
Yes.
So that should be cool, and I should be able to get my hands on one of those pretty soon. So that's cool. So check them out, sdi.edu. And speaking of 1911s, have you ever seen? It's the Wild Bunch, right? Where they have, it's like a Western, but they carry 1911s. Is that the one?
Right. Yeah, it was like the end, first part of the 20th century.
Yeah, 1915 or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, during war. Yeah. And they had 1911s. It was a new gun.
Yeah.
Pump shotguns, 1911s. Mm-hmm. I forget what else.
Which is a pretty kind of like a cool time, I always thought, because you have the cowboy stuff and everything still looked like the old Western out there, and you had like some real early cars, but you had like stuff like 1911s and pump shotguns.
By God, which the pump shotgun during World War I. This is completely not what we're talking about. The pump shotgun in World War I, the Germans considered it inhumane.
Yeah,
because you get in a trench with a shotgun. Back then, the M19, whatever they had, trench gun. If you held a trigger down, all you had to do was just work the action, and you could empty 6-7 rounds like that.
Yeah,
confined space in a trench, deadly. And they're using slugs. So, the Germans petitioned the whatever world body they had back then. The UN didn't exist, but the World Court, the Germans petitioned the World Court saying that the shotgun was inhumane.
Well, it is. A shotgun blast is inhumane.
That's right.
But if I were, I would consider it inhumane.
Yeah.
But poison gas was okay.
Poison gas and then bombs that if you step on it, you blow up.
That's fine, but a shotgun.
Somebody, I think I'm the one who coined the term or the phrase "war is hell."
Yeah, that's right.
Somebody else. Yeah,
maybe I'm not sure.
We don't want dangerous bullets to be used in war.
Right. Have you seen that? There's a famous picture from the Vietnam War where there's a guy, he's a soldier like walking through, kind of a little town looking place, and there's a Shell gas station, which I guess they had in Vietnam in the 70s, and the S is on fire from Shell, and it just says hell, and there's like fire. It's like a famous picture.
That one. Yeah, that's pretty good. I got to find that one.
That's great.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That was, I get the Winchester Model 97, Derrick, I think, wasn't it that pump shotgun used in World War I, guess.
Yeah,
97.
That's the
one. Yeah, and I think that one's like some of the Ithaca Model 37s, the early ones that you could just hold the trigger down, rack the slide, and it keeps firing.
At the time, they call it slam firing. You just hold the trigger down, and
they still call it that.
Okay,
we still call it that.
Yeah, we'll call it that anyway.
We call it anything we want.
That's right. Yeah. Which I don't know. I guess that would be pretty handy. If you know what you're doing, you can still fire it just as fast with a regular one. But there's if you're just trying to pump out as many rounds as you can, I guess there's less chance of kind of like sometimes doing that with a shotgun. It could be like a tongue twister, where it's like because you're doing it so fast,
short shuck it, or you get out of sync with it.
Right, but if you just hold down the trigger and all you got to do is rack it, then a little
practice. I'm sure these guys that were carrying the gauge back then were well trained. In fact, I've read accounts where you had guys when the Germans would throw a grenade over at them, they used a shotgun, shoot the grenade.
Oh man,
not shooting. My God. But then again, it's either hit it or else.
And the sport of skeet shooting was born.
A lot of motivation to hit there.
All about training. All about training.
You probably had these boys from Georgia, grew up hunting birds and stuff, and they're like, oh, no problem. We'll take these grenades out.
I hate to say it. It's a Southern thing. Ollie Murphy from Hunt County, Texas, by God.
Yeah.
He was such a good shot. They asked him, how did you learn to shoot so good? He said, because when I was a kid, we went out there hunting, and I had 2 rounds. If I didn't bring something back, we went hungry.
There you go.
What's that story that?
It's like Alvin York. Grew up, in the woods hunting, and don't you imagine those German soldiers how perplexed they were at that a grenade, and all of a sudden. Blows up in the air, or it's blown back at them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Alvin fired that 1911. By God.
That's right.
7 Germans rushed him. He got all 7 of them.
Yeah.
Good shooting by God.
See, I heard it was actually a Glock. It was one of the early Glock prototypes.
9mm, 380. Wasn't
it? A little known fact.
I think that was all 1911 propaganda.
That's right.
Just think what Alvin York would think if he could dig him up and he looked at a Glock or a polymer pistol.
Yeah.
Well, I got to say the British use it now. I saw a story in the British Army. They went over to the Glock.
The dark side.
But they've never had a traditional firearm, or they've never had a strong gun culture in Britain.
Right.
No.
But they
at one time I think they probably did actually. If you go back far enough,
the military did, I guess.
The Browning high power. If you've heard, that was their weapon, right? The British.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was, wasn't it?
And then before that, the Webley revolvers they carried. And,
but it's simple. Okay, I'll say Glocks. Yes, simple, effective. Yes, plastic. Yes, but they work.
Yeah,
if they made one with an external safety, I'd have one. So,
well, see, there you go. Derrick is we didn't know we were going to talk about this, but Derrick is experienced with firearms, military, and security, all this kind of thing, and he loves his 1911s more than anything. His 45s. But see, there's a good example of somebody who can appreciate. And we didn't set this up, but I mean that just reminded me. Yeah, he knows firearms, and he may not prefer a modern polymer pistol, and he makes fun of Glocks. We all joke about it. He loves his all steel. His 1911s. I hear him in radio show all the time. 1911, 45. But yet he acknowledges, they work, and that's the thing you don't get from some people. That, and I have said this before, and I've written it and sometimes I'll answer a comment on video if I'm in the mood to do it. I usually ignore that kind of thing. But these people will come on videos and they just Glocks are horrible. They're trash. They're junk. Well, what I usually, if I reply, which is rare, I think that usually tells me right away that poster is probably 13 years old, or that person doesn't know anything about guns. That person is inexperienced, because someone who is experienced with firearms will usually at least acknowledge, they tend to work, and they're not my preference, but they work.
It's a preference thing, strictly. Not mine, but yes.
Yeah. You might never ever want one, but they work, and anything that
good gun
cops carry them, they tend to work. But if you hate them, you at least acknowledge that
they're effective. I can't take anything from them. I do, but I can't. Not really. But they do the job. They do the job. So.
Yeah, for what they're designed to do, they do it as well as you would expect it to. And that's the thing. People argue polymer handgun, double stack versus 1911. What's really impressive to me about the 1911, to put something in its category, is that still it is one of the thinnest 45s out there. Yep. That's or just handguns, and period. That's the thing. It's heavy, but now they have some alloy frame models, and they have some different ways of getting around that. I've even heard there's a polymer frame 1911 that someone makes.
Sacrilege,
right?
Sacrilege, but okay.
Yeah, really.
but still, I mean, 1911s to me are still relevant because they're thin. You've got 8+1 rounds of 45 ACP. They do have a thumb safety. Some people don't like them, but some people have to have a thumb safety. That's what they want, which I totally understand that. And it's easy to manipulate, easy to operate. I mean, they're still today awesome guns.
And they feel great. They're ergonomic. And you have the same situation. Even if you wouldn't, there are people who a lot of shooting experience, and they were even owned maybe in 1911. But again, the same thing. They have to at least acknowledge that 1911 is a great gun, even if you don't want to carry one. Yeah,
proven 14 years of history now. Thank you very much. It does the job. My experience, I'll speak for myself. A lot of these guys that get the high capacity weapons, it's more of a warm fuzzy feeling. I got 16 rounds. Hey. No, personally, I feel like if you can shoot, you only need 8. Personally, that's me.
I like having. I actually like having capacity. For me, it's I don't like 40 caliber because I feel like either it's too in between the 9 and the 45. I'm going to have a effective bullet. Maybe slightly not as powerful as the 45, but still an effective bullet in 9mm, and have more of them. Or if I'm going to sacrifice my capacity, then I'm going to go with a bigger round. no one ever said like this is. I've heard tons and tons of people quote this, and they say something to the effect of, "No one ever got into a gunfight and complained that they had too much ammo."
That's right.
So you might have even said that before.
That's right.
I think that originates with Derrick.
It probably does. Yeah.
No such thing as too much ammo.
Right. Exactly. So I think capacity is a good thing, but I do think that having a 45 ACP, a 230 grain round, it's a good trade off. You know what I'm saying? It's a very fair trade off.
Well, one thing that according to my reading, and of course you've served in the military, based on my reading, I've not really been there other than a little reserve police work, but in those high stress situations, I know that even experienced shooters quite often they shoot more than they plan. They empty their guns. They say
yes.
Quite often they empty it and don't realize where it all went so fast.
That's right.
You got all those issues. There's arguments for capacity, but then it's just not good if you ever end up in one of those situations. No matter what you got.
No such thing as not. It's too much ammo. I'll be the first to say that. Yes, but ideally, if they're not on the ground in 2 rounds, something's wrong.
Yeah,
if it comes to that.
Well, one thing capacity does, I think, one argument for it, I guess, is if you're carrying regularly and whatever the situation, if you're security, police work, or a civilian, one thing I've liked about it, when I carry a Glock 19 or something, it obviates the need, maybe, for or at least the perceived need to carry another magazine sometimes.
That's true.
If you just got the gun, you got 15 rounds, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I'm carrying and I've carried 1911s a lot. You always feel like, I need another magazine, or 2 or 3 or 4.
Yes.
If you're decked out, if you're in your gear, which I've seen you in your security gear, your 1911s, you got your mag pouch, you got extra magazines, or if you're in police work. So that's of course totally different from just walking around town as a concealed carry permit holder.
One thing too, I will say, a 1911 magazine will wreak havoc on a smartphone.
Yes, it will.
If you're sharing a pocket with it.
Oh, man.
Yes, it will. Oh my God. Yes, it will.
Oh man.
So that's one thing, but yeah,
true.
Oh, sorry, we were talking about westerns.
We're talking about
That was an interesting time period though. In the westerns, they're set in the early 1900s. Because you still got it depends on where you are. I mean, the West didn't change that much in some areas. If you're out in the boonies,
you got that transitional period, like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. There's a famous picture of them, and I think they were in San Antonio, Texas. They all got a group photo.
Yeah,
that was in 1899.
Wow.
And again, I guess it wasn't that long ago. You had electric lights, telephones, and people still riding on horseback. The woman that my grandmother told me, she was born in 1913, and she says she was walking to school in 1927. There were still people riding horses in Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah.
To get around.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it hasn't been that long.
It ain't been really that long.
Yeah, really.
It depends on where you live. When I was this would have been in 1960, in the early 60s, we bought a farm in rural Kentucky, and our neighbor raised all this tobacco. We raised some too. He had mules and horses, and he had a wagon, and that's how you'd see he'd come up down the road. He bought a car finally, and a tractor finally. But he plowed his fields with that, and he was always back and forth to the store on a mule or a wagon. Yeah, I mean this is the 1960s, so it really depends on where you live.
Georgia, same thing. Our farm was right. We plowed with a mule.
There you go.
And right across the street was a Ford tractor company.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Right across the street. They probably used this as a selling tool. See? See?
So there'd be a vast difference if you lived in New York City, versus somewhere out in Wyoming, in 1915, 1920.
And it's still like that to a certain extent. But now that whole principle is kind of changing because now technology is to the point where it's so accessible and so affordable. Yeah. But still, though, you get out into certain areas and it is like going back to like the 90s or something.
Way back then.
That's right.
Where's my rocking chair?
That's right.
The 1990s or the 1890s. And of course, Wyatt Earp died in 1929 or something
29
along in there. Mm-hmm. So that's what's weird to think about. We think of anything that went on in the 1870s, 1880s as being, that's Neanderthal time. Mm-hmm. But Wyatt Earp lived into the 1920s, and actually was an advisor in early movies.
Yes, in fact, one of his, at least I said it in the movie anyway. One of the guys used to hang around the set, Marion Morrison, featured John Wayne.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Used to hang out with him, and John Wayne says he based his characters on what Wyatt Earp had told him.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I mean, how weird would that be? You're
man.
filming a movie and you're trying to get this character right, and during a break you're having this chat with
this old guy,
Wyatt Earp.
Yeah.
How was it, Wyatt? Oh wow, that just doesn't compute. You know?
Well, I gotta say this too. I did some reading on Wyatt Earp, and he was very, deadly force was a last resort with him.
Yeah.
Unlike the portrayal in movies, every 3 seconds they're shooting it out.
Because he actually only killed a couple of people or something.
Because usually he did something called buffalo on him.
He'd beat him over the head with
hit him
a gun barrel
with that big 1846 whatever, but this long.
He didn't hesitate to just hit you over the head. And speaking of myths, that's one of the Buntline special they think didn't even exist probably. Ned Buntline wrote all the dime novels and he created some of those. He had some of those made, those really long barrels, from my reading on this, 2 or 3 different places over the years. And there's really a lack of evidence that Wyatt Earp even ever had one of those extremely long guns. They think at first they thought he presented him one in his later years, but not even sure he even ever had one. And a lot of that was just stories that Ned Buntline wrote. But he did carry, of course, the Colt, and he carried some other guns.
Yeah. It does make sense if Ned Buntline is the one that wrote the stories that he would put that in there.
He was promoting his own stuff there.
Come on.
Right. And of course, and it's funny in the series, the Legend of Wyatt Earp. You've probably seen that, Derrick.
Yeah.
It's on now on the Westerns channel. But he's packing. Hugh O'Brien is packing, I think, 2 Colts, and one of them is that long butt line goes down about his knee, and the other one's a regular. And he pulls that thing out, and it's like a rifle barrel. And Wyatt Earp probably never carried that.
It's Hollywood.
It would have been pretty ungainly, I think. So
you wouldn't carry that thing.
Yeah.
Come on, but probably it's good movie. Good.
It'd been like giving you, and you're in Iraq or somewhere, say, "Well, Derrick, we got this special M16 for you. It's got a 30-inch barrel. Would you like that?"
Sure, any bigger? You make it bigger.
Did you say you guys used
to come? It's the Hickok45 special, and so you're going to carry it. Or at least I'm going to write stories that you carried the Hickok45.
Why not?
I'm going to be Ned Buntline.
Did you say that you guys used to complain about the A2s and call them muskets?
Yeah, the M16 A2 was
funny.
Compared to the M4 is huge.
Yeah, I got one.
And we saw the regular Army, the non-airborne guys. We saw them carrying the M16A2, and we said they had muskets. That's a musket. And
flintlock.
And then they called the M4 was a chick gun.
Yeah.
So that's fine though. It's a lot easier to carry. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
M16A2 very effective. That 800-meter range is excellent. Oh my! It'll knock you on your butt. We're G-rated here. I know that. Knock you on your butt. Great weapon. Just kind of big. Today it's kind of big.
Well, because the M4 does everything that the A2 does.
It's shorter range, but that's okay. I mean, you lose about 400 yards in range, but that's fine.
That's true. Well, I've heard with the 14-inch barrel, you lose some, but supposedly with the 16-inch barrel, you don't lose much.
Well, it's rare you're shooting out at 600 yards.
Yeah, exactly. We don't really fight war like that anymore.
Call in artillery for that,
exactly.
Right?
they got drones and all that now.
Yeah. I mean, you don't line up and march down.
Fortunately. Thank you. But really, in every Army study I've ever seen, and from my personal experience, you'll never engage anybody further than 100 yards out. And then maybe.
Yeah.
That's 100 yards. That's kind of far. Is it worth it? And your chances of hitting him any further than that are kind of low. With iron sights. So
that's interesting because so many people their whole focus is with ARs especially is and of course they're hunting with them and I don't know what all they're doing, but they're getting that group at 300 yards is sacrosanct to them,
Which is good.
I don't even care. That's one thing we don't do much in the videos is bench rest and see what kind of group we can get at 200 yards.
That aspect of shooting,
care. It doesn't interest me.
Yeah, that aspect of shooting has never interested me that much because to me it's like it's a little bit too nerdy and specific. It's not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just that. I don't know. It's just too much math involved.
I mean, yeah, that you can do it. That's fine. That's great.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think part of the reason I think is a lot of people can only shoot at a public shooting range, and they go there and there's these shooting tables, and it's covered, and that's what everybody's doing. They're unloading their stuff, and they set up in a bipod, maybe a bench rest, and they all go down and set up a paper target because they won't let you shoot steel or other cool stuff, and so. What kind of group can I shoot? That's the whole focus, you know. And that's good. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, skill based. I mean, I think reaction shooting should be more focused on also shooting under duress. Maybe something else for us to talk about one of these days is secondary weapons and maybe edged weapons. You know, what if Chief Gates, who used to be LAPD chief way back when, he made a statement for people who carry concealed weapons. He says, "Oh, you're always going to be able to get to your weapon." And then if you can't, what do you do? So, which was a good point.
Right.
Chief Gates was maybe anti-gun, but that was a good point. What if you're in a position where you can't get to your weapon, or you legally can't shoot at that person because you might endanger someone else? What do you do then? That's when, other options, hand-to-hand, edge weapons come in.
Well, we always think in our head of the most black and white self-defense scenario, like guys banging on the door, and he busts in and you shoot him.
Yeah.
But more than likely, it's going to be real complicated.
Yeah, it's not going to be that clear. It's going to be gray.
Right, it's going to be an extremely complicated situation that requires you to make a very, very quick decision.
Exactly,
it's going to be tough.
Exactly, and even if, as we all know, if you abide by the law, which we all do, thank you. Even if you can, this guy is threatening you, and you are authorized to use deadly force. You can't endanger anyone else.
Right.
And especially, what if you don't have, for some reason, you have don't have hollow points. Have ball ammo, and you get a penetration and hit somebody behind him, you're done.
Yeah,
you're done.
That's kind of stuff you have to think about. I mean, if you're in a crowded mall.
You have to remember that.
Yeah, and it's a tough call because it depends on the situation too. I mean, if in an active shooter situation, I think it kind of changes things. Like I would consider that as like an all bets are off kind of thing.
Okay.
Because if there's a guy that's going crazy and just trying to kill as many people as he possibly can, in that situation, Vegas. I think I'm right. Well, or the like the Aurora or Sandy Hook, something like that. Yeah. I'm probably going to look at that situation like anything I can do to stop this guy.
Oh yeah,
is good, even if as much as I hate to say it, even if an innocent bystander is injured or even killed, I mean, what are you going to do? Just, I can't shoot this guy because someone else might get hurt, but then he goes on to kill 10 more people. You know?
Police after action reports found that the best way to deal with a situation with an active shooter, they got to get in there as quickly as possible.
Right.
And engage him. That's the best thing you got to do is get in there as quickly as possible and engage him. Because the tactic, I believe, before that was, okay, let's surround the area.
That's right.
Cordon everything off, and then we'll call up SWAT. And while you're doing all that, he's in there killing people.
Yeah, 150 people end up dead. And then the other thing with most of those active shooters, maybe not all, but 90% at least, they just go to commit suicide, of course, and take out innocent people who are unarmed. And I've heard the stats, but it's also some huge percentage, like 90% of them, as soon as they're confronted, with gunfire or anything, they leave or kill themselves or whatever. So you're not you're not trying to stop a Navy SEAL in there.
Yeah.
You're stopping someone who has gone to commit suicide and they want to take out other people. They want to be in total control. They want to take out all those people before they off themselves. And as soon as someone speeds up that schedule for them, they go ahead and do that. That's really, in most cases, what you're dealing with. So, as soon as you can get a shot at. That's one thing I differ with some folks. They will comment about, well, it's mostly anti-gun people. But they'll say they'll argue about carrying guns in theaters or that kind of thing. Well, or in some gun-free zone like that. Well, what are you gonna, if someone does start shooting at people, what are you going to do? It's going to turn into Dodge City, and you're going to end up hitting some grandmother or whatever. You want some grandmother pulling out a gun and taking a shot at him and hitting some innocent person. Well, that's right. The guy's up there killing people right and left. Yeah. Somebody shoot at him. I don't care if you hit me. Shoot at him.
Yeah. That grandmother might survive a shot in the shoulder, but not a shot right in the head when this guy's just trying to assassinate people.
All it takes is somebody to, because of what I just said earlier, and we all know, they just want to shoot unmolested, and then as soon as they get confronted, they're going to probably quit, even if you don't hit them. Right. Even a shot at them might be enough. and everybody's getting killed. So
in the meantime, yeah. And I gotta say this: you ever notice that these active shooters and all that always takes place in places where they know no one else is going to have a weapon?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You
never see it in like Dallas,
it's rare,
or Montgomery, Alabama, or
the NRA convention,
NRA
convention. A gun show, or
you notice there was a lot of people there,
probably the safest places in Nashville, right?
Yeah, that's right, really, in the whole downtown area,
the vodka come right here.
Yeah, in any population where a state where you can carry, which is most states now, but where there are a lot of people have carry permits. Any gathering in Nashville, just downtown Broadway. How many people at any given time probably have a firearm?
Yeah.
So if someone decided they're going to open up on people in downtown Broadway, well, they're probably going to be retaliated against right away.
Might not be good for them.
Yeah. I mean, people are always going to have some incentive to do something that they feel like they can get away with.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And they, even if a lot of these kind of situations, well, I don't know. I mean, honestly, the reason that people do this, well, other than the fact that them being crazy, is that they're crazy. That's the first step. Mm-hmm. And then they realize that they can get attention, and they can go and find some place that's easy pickings and take out a lot of people, and they're going to get attention because of that. Their death toll, the higher it is going to give them more attention. So that's their goal. Well, if they realize, okay, that's really not a good way to get attention, because usually when someone tries that now, they get killed or stopped pretty quickly, then probably that's not going to happen that much anymore. Because I would be just completely shocked to find out there's been any of these mass shooters that isn't aware of other mass shootings. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I just would have a really hard time seeing how they just all of a sudden one day in their head got that idea. It comes from the media exposure of the other events.
Copycat type stuff.
Yeah. Right. So theoretically speaking, at least, if there was media exposure of, some of these events happened where people were carrying guns and they were stopped immediately, and that started to be big in the news, that alone would probably stop them from happening.
Didn't we talk about that once, that guy in Oregon Mall with a shooting spree, and then a concealed carry permit holder confronted him, didn't fire, but confronted him, and the guy gave up?
Yeah, he was up on a balcony or something, and he pulled his gun, and then the guy ran under or something and then shot himself. Yeah.
So, I mean, again, it's real good to be a tough guy when you're the only one with a gun.
Right, exactly.
That's right.
And those that's another thing with the news, and we talk about that a lot, but they don't cover that stuff.
No.
Yeah.
So I was going to say the media didn't cover that event very much.
No.
Yeah.
That last show, we talked about that quote, that stat I gave you, that is by the CDC, Center for Disease Control.
Oh, yeah.
2.5 million crimes were averted by armed citizens in the United States in 2013.
Yeah, 2.5 million.
Yeah, well, averted. Now, they didn't fire their weapon, but the fact that they confronted the individual averted a aggravated crime.
Yeah.
The media ignores that. Yeah, John Lott's been writing books on that for years, and he started out as an anti-gunner basically, and he's far left guy, and I forget what university he's out of, but he just wanted to start study it and see what was going on with more guns and how it affected crime and all that, and his research is totally unbiased. He's proven out over and over again statistically that more guns do equal less crime. He's got it state by state. It's just a fact. So
just look at. I mean, just all you got to do. You don't even have to almost look at statistics. Just think about in your head. Anyone could just sit down and go, okay, what are areas of the country or in my city that I would feel the most at risk?
Yeah,
and then whatever that area is, think about, get a guess of what your estimate of the percentage of criminals with guns in that area versus citizens with guns. And I guarantee you, overwhelmingly, it's going to be criminals.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times these are urban areas that we're thinking of where there's no kind of gun culture, people don't have guns, or there's gun restrictions that prevent people from having guns. But all the criminals and all the drug dealers, they all have
don't worry
them.
about restrictions and laws.
Right, exactly.
Chicago, Washington, D.C.
Yeah, look at all the cities with all the,
D.C. just got overturned on that, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah.
And Chicago too. So all of it's moving in the right direction now.
Yeah, it's nice. Except, I mean, there's been a couple of small steps back, like with some stuff that happened in Washington with that last election, and stuff like that. But it's pretty awesome. It's like we have the momentum on our side.
I don't necessarily understand this. That case we cited a couple of shows back from Grafton, Massachusetts in 1974, that female that was stalked, and the police told her that we cannot protect you all the time. You need to go out there and buy yourself a weapon, and she didn't, and she ended up being assaulted and killed by him. By the suspect. And the Supreme, they tried to sue the jurisdiction, saying that they didn't protect her. The Supreme Court held that it is your responsibility at some level to protect yourself. The police are not there to protect every individual. They're there to protect the entire community as a whole.
That's right. They're not legally. They can't be legally held for
liable. They'll come. Yes, they'll come eventually. But in the meantime, you got to be able to take care of yourself.
They'll come with their chalk.
Exactly.
That's right.
One of the things that, like, me and Dad were talking about actually before you got here, that's frustrating to me about when it comes to the issue. It seems like there's a lot of issues that should be handled in a more like scientific, analytical kind of way. That end up getting hijacked, and they become these political and emotional, like taking sides kind of issues. Now, of course, even with science, like people are going to have disagreements about the data and stuff like that. Like that's totally natural, but it's really not the same though. It's like they get completely hijacked. Like the climate issue is a perfect example of that. No one knows what's really going on with that because you got one political side saying this, another political side saying this, and it's just, and all their studies are funded by their own party, and it's just a mess. And the same thing happens when it comes to like guns and violence issues, is you don't ever get the sense that a group of people just sat down. They're like, okay, let's think of some ways to make people safer. How do we stop people being, try to prevent people from being victims of crimes? Let's look at what are the most common ways that people are, becoming victims of certain areas where they're happening and why, and what are the items that are being used and the circumstances, and they just look at all of it, and try to get a realistic picture of it. You never feel like that happens because
it's easier to complain.
Right. It's easier to blame, guns.
Blame an object.
Instead of circumstances
it's not guns,
that cause these problems. And exactly.
It's not guns. Guns have nothing to do with that. It's us.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's easier. Well, I don't know. That's what makes it so confusing to really dig into this issue, because you keep going back to what the agenda of the people who are for gun control in politics. Like, are they legitimately even trying to reduce violence?
No.
Do they actually think that banning guns is going to reduce violence? Or
targeting weapons is easier. It seems to be easier than facing some of the real issues we're up against, like poverty, income inequality. It's easy to say, well, forget all that. Just take away the weapons.
Right.
Yeah, but what about these people living in poverty? Yeah, but no guns.
Yeah, and it's a heartstring issue because, like in poor neighborhoods where there's a lot of drug dealing going on and a lot of drug war violence going on through the trade and everything, it's easier, instead of explaining to those people, well, we have a real complicated problem happening here. We have these substances that people want. They're real valuable, and there's a lot of violence associated with the trade of them. We have, discrimination issues still in these types of neighborhoods. We have all kinds of complicated issues that it's attributing to the violence that we're seeing in these neighborhoods. And we're going to need to start sitting people down and talking to them and setting good examples for children and finding jobs and helping people understand how to get work and all these different things. Or you could just say, we're going to get rid of guns in your neighborhood,
which doesn't help any of that.
It doesn't.
Right.
How does that?
Too many guns on the street. Yeah.
Okay, so what about jobs? No, guns first.
Yeah,
jobs, guns.
Right, because it's kind of like an iceberg. It's almost like if there's it's kind of like there's a big ship headed towards an iceberg. And the public is all freaked out. Look at that big ice sticking out of the water, and they're like, oh, nothing to fear. We'll just blast the tip off with a rocket launcher. It'll be fine. It's kind of like that. It's like the people are happy. The politicians keep getting elected, and
it's a talking point. It's something. It's a seem to be easier answer. Just eradicate weapons. But I thought they did that in Britain. They outlawed weapons in Great Britain. Now knives are their big problem.
That's right. People get stabbed. They have a higher incidence of violence than we do now.
I don't know. Why? Let's look at all the facts. Let's don't look at some. Let's look at all of them.
guns are an easy target, like you say, and a lot of these folks who are so anti-gun, they like to think they're really altruistic. They just want to help people. They want to help us. They want to save our lives. They want to save people. If they really were concerned about saving people's lives or preventing people from getting hurt, you could do that so much more easily. Why don't we require, I always say, why don't we require everybody to wear a helmet while they're driving? How many people die on the roads every day?
Knee pads. And
I mean, most people die from head injuries probably that get killed on the road. Just that would save way more lives.
Wait, I got to say this. I mean, they're talking about outlawing guns. That's BS. What about KFC? KFC has killed more people.
That's right.
I'm not going to get sued for that.
Too many potatoes or, greasy food.
I mean, let's be fair now. It ain't just 762. That's right. It's deep fried this, deep fried that.
Yeah, I mean, really, food kills more people prematurely than anything. And smoking.
There's a movie, I'm not plugging it. There's a movie called Thank You for Smoking. They talked about, and I looked it up. It's true. Smoking kills 475,000 people every year in the United States. That's 1,200 people a day.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of smokes out there.
Yeah,
that's right.
I mean, you can't.
Well, I can't remember. I've said this before on the show, I know, but to me, what it comes down to, if you compare things that obviously everyone knows kills people, like cigarettes and alcohol, everyone knows that, but they're legal, versus things that they're either trying to ban or are illegal. Mm-hmm. The difference is when it comes to cigarettes and alcohol, everyone has exposure to cigarettes and alcohol. Yeah. They have exposure to the negative and the positive. So everyone knows people who have had, lung cancer or some kind of issue with cigarettes, or knows of someone. Mm-hmm. Same thing with alcohol. Everyone knows of someone who's been killed drunk driving or have had some kind of problem related to alcohol. Mm-hmm. But you also are aware of your buddy that drinks every now and then and he's fine, or you drink and you're fine. Mm-hmm. So you have both positive and negative exposure. So you have a more balanced opinion on the subject. But when it comes to guns, a lot of people have zero exposure on the positive side. It's all negative. It's only just what they see in the news.
Newspaper,
it's true, but I gotta say this: where I was raised up at, I mean, everybody toted guns.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember a birthday or a Christmas they didn't give me some kind of firearm.
That's how it was for me growing up.
What? I remember I was like 11, and they gave me a 22 rifle for Christmas. There you go, boy. Here's some ammunition for you. Go ahead. And the idea of shooting at somebody or shooting or threatening somebody with a weapon never occurred to me or to them.
Yeah. See, that's the difference. We all grown up with firearms, so we don't think anything about that.
I mean, what the hell?
And you understand the danger and what they can do.
Exactly.
And stuff.
Exactly. It's not a toy. It's a lot of responsibility, which I think, and I said this at the NRA thing, all it takes is one idiot to make us all look stupid.
Right.
But weapons are a heavy responsibility to carry and to own, and you can never forget that.
Yeah.
It's like the fellow that worked with NC Silencer. What's it? Hank. Yeah, we met.
Oh yeah.
He tells he grew up. Where was it? Georgia or Alabama? North Carolina. He grew up in the South somewhere, and he would talk about. He told us a story about how his mother. He's grown up with guns too, like the rest of us. And he said, this was the first time we met him. He was telling us that story about how when he went fishing, his mom would say he was going down the creek to go fishing or whatever. And he was like 12, 15. I don't know what age he was. And she'd say, Hank, do you have a gun? And instead of it being, you don't have a gun, do you? That wasn't the concern. It was, Hank, you got a gun? Yes, okay. You better. He was expecting.
Yeah. What do you mean you ain't got a gun?
You're taking a gun? Yes, Mom, I'm taking my gun. And so a lot of us have grown up like that. It's hard to relate to the other side.
Yeah. Well, it's like, have you seen the Super Mario Brothers movie?
No, I haven't. I must have missed that.
Okay. You never see that movie that came out in the 90s? And
heard of it. I didn't catch it. Sorry.
Okay. Well, so they go to this weird futuristic world or whatever. So this guy goes there. I can't remember which one of the Mario brothers is supposed to be, if it's Mario or Luigi. But anyways, so this weird lady And they had these rocket shoes apparently.
Okay.
And this weird lady recognized that he's like new there or whatever, and she's like, and she started trying to act like she's trying to help him out. She's like, so you got a gun? And he's like, no, do I need one or something? And she's like, oh, and then she pulls out her gun. She's like, give me everything you got.
Do I need one?
Yeah, one of the rare examples in Hollywood where they actually paint a nice picture for you about what guns are important.
It's where you come from. It's your background, your culture. Weapons are a good thing in the right hands. I will say this. I've said it before. There are people who are irresponsible who have no business touching weapons.
Right.
But for the most part,
realistically speaking, we can't really stop them from having guns. So
not legally.
We need to outnumber them.
Yes.
That's kind of what it comes down to.
And by setting the example, my experience, yes, there was a time after I retired from the Army, I was like, oh, guns, oh no, I shall put down weapons. Yeah, right. Until I got robbed. My house got burglarized. All right, I became a pistol packing, whatever. So, it's a heavy responsibility. Absolutely never forget that. And my experience has been that as long as you carry professionally, in a mature, responsible way, people don't really have a problem with it.
Right.
In fact, a lot of times they're glad you're there, depending on where you're at.
Right.
If you carry, again, you're responsible, you carry in a professional manner, what's the problem?
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah,
Most people have common sense, and they know you, and they know what kind of person you are, so the firearm doesn't bother them.
No.
And that, of course, is one thing we have going for us now in the gun rights community or in firearms world, whatever you want to call it, is so many people now have carry permits that and have firearms because it's the growth has been exponential the last 6-8 years, and almost everybody, I'd say, not maybe in certain pockets around the country, but almost everybody has a husband, a wife, or an uncle, or somebody in their family they know are into firearms, and they know they have a carry permit, and they know that person is not a wacko. Even if they don't know much about guns, they've not been around them. There's someone in the family that's getting into guns now, or they have been into them, and they're just a normal person, and that is what it takes right there.
Yeah.
Because these folks who have nobody in their environment that knows anything about a firearm or has a firearm, at least they think that they know of.
It's that positive exposure, like I was talking about before.
Yeah, you need somebody. Well, now Uncle Harry's not that idiot. He's not an idiot, and he likes firearms. So maybe everybody that has a firearm is not an idiot.
Oh, he carries, and he's doing the right thing the right way. So what's the problem?
Because you think about it, there's only if you're not around guns. You don't have them or you don't know people who have them. There's only one way to be exposed to guns.
Yeah, look at the news.
That's right.
Your television, the media. And a lot of times it's bad. Usually,
of course.
Yeah, I remember when I was teaching. This was years ago. I did a little gun safety thing for the Boy Scout troop, and some of the kids were in my class and John's class, whatever. And there was a mother that was just. And we were doing this over at they were having a Cub Scout meeting. Actually, it was Cub Scouts, I guess, not Boy Scout, I don't know, but having a meeting, and it was all great. They wanted me to come over, and they knew I was into firearms, and just talk about gun safety and that kind of thing, and maybe bring a couple of firearms. And there was one mother that was just really, really against it. And she had worked in an ER. And she had seen what guns do to people. Yeah. So it's just that experience, though, she couldn't get beyond that.
You hear that kind of thing from a lot of people. They're like, there's people who, let's say that somehow you're exposed to, maybe you work in an ER and you see the damage that drunk driving causes.
Or anything.
Something like that.
Bicycle accidents, chainsaws.
Right.
You talk to an ER doctor, and they will have you never buy a chainsaw. Don't ever get on a bicycle. Because what do they see all day long? The people who have the negative experience with those things.
Exactly. So your perspective is unbalanced in that situation. Like people, for example, and I understand it, and maybe it's in a lot of cases it's not a bad thing, but there's people who, like maybe they had a parent or someone in their family that was a really bad drug addict.
Yeah.
So because of that, they don't drink at all. Right, which I understand that, and might be a smart thing for them because maybe biologically, I know sometimes addiction can be genetic.
You can be predisposed to it,
right? But sometimes that's not always rational because they only have the negative exposure to it.
That's what you said before. It's not that they don't have a balanced perspective. It's just that they have no perspective.
Right, yeah.
There's good and bad to everything.
Right.
There's with weapons. There's responsible use, and then there's irresponsible use. Just like driving, drugs, or whatever else, eating food.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be critical of something, be balanced enough to see both sides of it.
And be aware of your situation. Like if you work in an ER, I mean, you're only going to see the negative.
Right.
I mean, that's the reason they come to see you. They got hurt doing something. It's like when I grew up, my uncle was killed on a tractor. He was my favorite uncle. He was the gun collector. He's where I got the addiction, I think, from him and everything. And he was killed suddenly on a tractor, turned over on him. Well, you know, that's the only person. Hey, I could have had a negative outlook on tractors.
Yeah,
it's just you got to look at the big picture.
Yeah, that's the important thing. I think a lot of people miss is they don't zoom out the lens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Which I don't.
Wait a minute. How many people have been killed on a tractor in this county in the last 10 years? He might have been the only one. You know,
right? And if you go talk to every family member, you know, in the county that had someone killed on a tractor, you might, it's going to screw you and it's going to skew your view of that and make you not want to use a tractor. Yeah.
I gotta think anytime anyone talks about any kind of bans at all, like ARs or anything like that, that's the best thing that happened to the AR manufacturers. Because people that even, the last time this came up in the media, I remember saying that people that never even thought about having a weapon ran out to get one.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'm like, oh, wait.
That's right.
They're bad until I can't have one.
Right.
Oh my God.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm going to get one.
Yeah.
Oh, well, but they're bad. Yeah, but I need to have it just in case. But you said they're bad, but I need to have it.
Yeah. You don't need a gun. All you need is just a real vicious animal.
Harsh language.
Yeah, that's right. What do you think about what do you think about dogs for home defense?
If you got the right dog, the right dog. In fact, from what I understand, one of the best deterrents to home invasion is to have a dog.
Well, for like the warning aspect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's dogs I know that you can buy that are probably really expensive. They're highly trained and stuff like that. But I don't know. That's kind of weird. Then you don't really have a pet. You have a weapon. Yeah, exactly.
Did you safe your dog before you left?
Yeah.
Put your dog on safe. Your dog is loaded. Yeah.
Like those people with that kill word, but they don't tell you what it is.
Oh yeah.
But it's usually some foreign language. You just happen to say it. The dog's
That's another thing too is, putting an animal in a position to where it has to make human decisions is not necessarily a good thing.
The dog is a supplement to your home defense.
Yeah.
He's to warn you, oh, what's that? There's somebody at the door. Where's my Glock? Oh, did I just say that? I'll be 1911.
You just said Glock. I heard him.
You just revealed yourself.
It was a Freudian slip. Yeah, I got one out the car. I just don't let you know it.
Derrick is a closet Glocker.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet he's got every model at home.
Yeah.
Glock 19, 17.
I go to a secret range and shoot him. Okay. Oh no.
He's got a disguise. He's got a beard. He puts on a beard when he goes to the range.
The glasses.
Sunglasses.
Somebody starts to recognize. He grabs the 1911. He's got the box.
What are you talking about?
Or you have a picture of a 1911 that you just hold up real quick if someone sees you with your hand.
But your dog is more. It should be a pet.
Right. Yeah. Well, and one of the problems with trusting a dog for home defense, the first thing I brought, unpredictable. Even if it's highly trained, like I said, you have an animal making human decisions that even a human is hardly capable of making.
Yeah.
Also, a dog could be really easily distracted or killed, right? If you have a gun and you're just determined to get into someone's house, I mean, I know if it were me, I'd just shoot the dog. And in a story,
Hey, PETA is rising. I think PETA's burning torches outside your house. Right but no, there was some show where they showed they got professional thieves with and this guy was specialized in breaking and entering and did time for it. And these people, they had a dog for home defense, home protection. And the guy came in there and he knew the dog was there, pulled out a steak, gave it to the Rottweiler. Dog was his buddy.
That's what I was going to say.
Follow him around. Follow him around the house. The dog almost was showing. Well, the jewels are over here. The money's there. The gun safe is over here.
Yeah.
So it's a warning. It's an early warning.
Right. And plus, dogs, they don't understand the principle of like property and stuff like that. So, I mean, if you knew what you were doing and you're familiar with dogs, you could probably just trick them into thinking that you're fine. Just don't like run up on them real quick and act cool and stuff. And
win them over with like a steak or food or treats. And all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if you have like a lion or something, that might actually be more effective.
A liger.
Bengal tiger.
And you know what? We laugh, but there are people who would do.
Yeah, true. That's
okay,
right.
you know, that's crazy money. If I got enough money, I'm going to keep a tiger in the back. Lots of money.
Like Scarface?
I know I made
You know, I heard this. I was listening to Joe Rogan podcast one time, and he had Charlie Murphy on there, Eddie Murphy's brother. And he was telling this story about they were doing some kind of show or something with Mike Tyson. And they were going to like pick him up to go where they were going to be shooting the thing. So they roll up to his house. They've got like 3 limos, and they roll up. And he comes out the front door, and he said this is back like closer to like his heyday. And he comes walking out with his championship belt on. He walks out, and a tiger comes running up.
Oh, man.
And he starts like wrestling with it and playing with it in the front yard.
Oh, man.
And Charlie Murphy was like, he's like, I was terrified. He's like, I was scared to get out of the car.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah, you got Mike Tyson, who's kind of scary, and then you got Tiger.
Yeah. And so he just kind of like just took him off to the back and was like, all right, guys, let's go.
Okay, another example of too much of something is bad for you.
Yeah, really.
Too much money. That, you know what? I'll have a tiger. And I'm going to walk around in furry slippers and my championship belt.
You can already whip anybody on the planet, and you got a tiger with you. What else do you need?
Yeah. I mean, what's he going to do? Make his ear look more messed up? You know?
I mean, another example of again too much money, too much everything. I mean, come on, man. And you know what? Nobody around him, his inner circle didn't say, "Hey, man, that's a tiger. What are you doing with a tiger in your house?"
Yeah. Exactly.
It's running around loose. Yeah. Not chained up, not in the cage, running around.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, out our way, or well, in this vicinity, let's say in the rural area around here.
Place should remain nameless.
Should remain nameless.
Place. There's a sign out there's a nameless. You didn't nameless. Population 3,000.
No, population unknown or nameless. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Population undetermined. There was a fellow who was actually, I could probably come up with his name. He was in the music business, and his name is on the tip of my. He wasn't like a big name, really big.
Was
name,
it like something
he was fairly
savage?
well known around here.
Was
he
it
had a lot of wild animals and
it was something
cages.
Savage, right?
Yeah, that's it. Well, I don't know whether we should mention it anyway, but I know he had some animals, wild animals. I think he had tigers and those kinds of things out there. And was one of his children was killed, I think, by one of them accidentally.
Like a panther or something.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so and I've heard him interviewed since then, and you know he seemed like a sensible guy and everything, but he was devastated over that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything. I mean, we don't know anything about dangerous animals, so maybe he was an expert.
Wait, we know they're dangerous.
Well, yeah, we do know that. You know, and maybe the risk wasn't quite as it seems, but still, I mean,
things happen.
You're talking about unpredictable.
Well, that's the point I was going to make about animal. If you got a dog, even like I agree with you all. You know, dogs or animals in the house are a great warning system, but I don't want an animal in my house that is going to be a dangerous animal to someone who's even breaking in.
Yeah.
Because even if you have it really highly trained, I don't know how are you going to have that dog around all the time? What if the neighbor's kids or your relatives?
Exactly.
Yeah, like you say, they're very unpredictable. You can't. You can count on this Glock or this 1911 doing exactly what you instruct it to do, but you can't count on an animal.
And they don't have the same understanding. They're like an animal's perspective is just like we can't even possibly understand. You know how different their perspective on things are. You know, we have this little filter in our head, unless you're an insane person, where no matter how angry you get, you know, like okay, I've got to stay calm because I want to do something. I'm going to regret that's going to cause bad things down the road. An animal doesn't have a concept of that, and if it gets scared or threatened or something like that, it's just gonna.
He might misinterpret your brother-in-law coming by real quick and open the door and playing a joke on you, coming on in and shouting real loud, and he might misinterpret that.
And plus, liability issues with having a weapon like that are ridiculous. When I was in school, we had a case. This individual, he had some breed of dog that was so vicious that it was outlawed in Spain. You could only find them in the Canary Islands.
Was it a dire wolf? Or
something like that. It was a huge animal, extremely vicious, extremely unpredictable. In fact, that they were, again, so vicious, so unpredictable that they were outlawed anywhere in the Western world. And of course, he had 2 of them.
Of course. You can't just have one. Yeah.
Kept him in an apartment
man.
out in California, right? And then his neighbor was coming back from the store one day. They got out, they attacked and killed her.
Wow.
And him and his wife were arrested on second-degree murder because, again, they destroyed the animals, which maybe not fair because, hey,
that is what they do.
It's what they do.
It's not their fault, but really the people who own them killed them.
Exactly.
Really,
so they were charged and imprisoned over it. So having an animal like that for that express purpose. It's a lot of liability.
Right. And even if it's not, it's just having something like the lady with the chimpanzee.
That's what I was going to.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wasn't that nice?
Well, she was crazy.
Man.
Come on, she's giving the chimp. Axel, come on.
Yeah, and it wasn't even the owner of the chimpanzee that got messed up by
it. It was a neighbor, wasn't it, or somebody?
I think so.
Or
oh my God!
Bite your face off.
Oh,
okay. I got a problem with animals bigger than me in the first place.
Really? Oh man, and 5 times as strong.
I mean, I think people got the image of chimps as bubbles,
so cute,
and or cheetah from Tarzan.
That's right.
No, that's when they're small.
Yeah.
When they get full size, they're like what 5 times the strength of man.
Well, you've actually seen a full size monkey before.
That was.
Tell that story again. That was a great story.
Yes, I had a personal example of how you see them on TV, they look cute and cuddly.
Yeah.
But then when you're confronted with them in real life in their environment, all of a sudden they got fangs and they're as big as you. They warned us at this hotel in this East African country to keep our windows closed. And of course, me being an idiot, I did. So I go take a shower, I come back out, and sure enough, there's this huge primate sitting on my bed.
Oh man!
And then, I don't know, I think it was a rhesus monkey or something, whatever it was. It was, again, you see him on TV. Well, okay, look, he's cute. He's doing little chippy things with his hands. No, when you're confronted in a towel with this primate,
that's your M4.
That's right, with 4-inch fangs.
Oh man!
I was a little bit crapless. Yes, I was a little bit. Let's see, what's a good word? I was what's a good word? I was a little bit disoriented. Yeah, there you go. Better word. Yeah. So in my towel.
Yeah.
Anyway, this thing, this primate, this cousin of man, if you want to call it, sitting on my bed looking at me, and I didn't make any sudden moves. You better believe it. And then he snatched my watch, and out the window he went.
He grabbed your watch.
Snatched my watch, took off out the window.
Oh, okay. Snapped your watch.
I got an image of him.
Where was your watch at? Was it sitting on the bed?
It was the counter on the nightstand.
And he just grabbed it,
and took off out the window. So I'm thinking, I'm sitting. I got this image of a monkey in a tree now. Checking the time. Come on, the hotel. Let's go.
There's a monkey out there wearing your Rolex somewhere now.
or worst case, some guy had him trained to do that. Okay, 3rd floor, the second window. Get in there.
That's what it was.
So
it could have been. Yeah, there was a movie about that. I think Disney movie.
Animals are again, seeing them on the TV or in movies is one thing, but when you're confronted like a lion, they're a lot bigger than you think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Like that. Have you seen that movie? Was it Ghost in the Darkness or something?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Those 2 lions were eating people up in South Africa or something.
Yeah.
They are huge.
Which after I saw that movie, I looked up online about it, and the guy who that was played by what's his name?
Michael Douglas.
No, not him. He was a great character, Michael Douglas in that movie. The other guy, the one who was kind of in charge of the thing and was hunting the Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
The guy the real guy that he was portraying actually kept those 2 lions. He actually had them skinned and were like turned into rugs.
Okay.
And actually had them like on his living room floor for a long time after that.
That's a great conversation piece.
Yeah, and then then after he died, they took him and put him, I think, in the Smithsonian, and they actually like stuffed him and made him look like. Yeah. And they said that there was something different about those lions though. It wasn't just that they were lions, like they were like psychopathic lions or something.
I heard once they realize how easy it is to attack and eat humans. Forget zebra.
Yeah.
Come on, all that running.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's creepy. They actually,
That's right.
Yeah, I know. They actually planned and stuff. I mean, usually you think of an animal like that going a little crazy and attacking someone or whatever, but they actually like planned and schemed.
And it was on a continuous basis, months, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's like something out of a movie.
Yeah, I think from everything I've heard, once an animal learns they can attack humans, you got to put them down because you can't. I mean.
Because they killed, it was like an astronomical number, what, 50
it was a lot.
That Gary Larson cartoon, I know you don't remember him. Gary Larson.
Oh, no, those are awesome. I love those. I actually got one of his books.
One of those cartoons I saw, it had these two alligators on the side of the river. They're leaning back with their hands behind their heads, and there's some tattered clothing next to them. And one gator looks at the other one and says, "That was great. That was great. Soft, pink, no shell, no fur." That was
There you go.
Man, I love Gary Larson's comics.
Oh, he's funny.
They're so great because it's such great ironic humor. Like, one of my favorite ones is like, he has several that are like this. There's one where this guy and his wife. And the way that people are drawn in those is just awesome. But they're in this bunker underground. You can see above the bunker, there's like nuclear bombs exploding and mushroom clouds everywhere. So they're in this bunker and they're just full of canned goods. And his wife is like, "You idiot, you forgot the can opener."
That's the Far Side, right? Or am I
the same thing, I think.
Far Side. Yeah, Gary Far Side.
Yeah, that's one of my very favorites. I had a couple of those on my classroom wall. The one I like is where the guy is going up the steps and there's a door. And it says push, and he's pulling on it. Yeah,
but
it
it's
says
school.
Big sign says push to open.
But it says school for the gifted.
And it's school for the gifted. Yeah, it's a little bit like The Simpsons. You got to catch the signs.
Yeah,
that same kind of humor.
Yeah, just the subtle stuff.
Like your mother and I were watching something the other night, and I caught the sign. She didn't catch it. It may have been in that Firefly. I don't know what it was we were watching, but there were
that's a great show, by the way. Have you seen that Firefly?
Yeah,
I got.
Oh man, one of the greatest science fiction shows.
Dude.
Yeah, there was a sign on the wall between some people just sitting there, and you had to read quickly. And from watching The Simpsons with you, I have learned if there's a sign on the wall, in this quick scene, it's there for a reason.
Right.
I mean, you want to catch those things. That's where all the humor is, or so much of it in The Simpsons. But it looked like a stone. The sign did. It really looked like a rock, a piece of rock, like around the Flintstones or something. But I mean, this wasn't cartoon. This was seeing real people. But it had written on it, "Nothing is written in stone." It is on stone.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
I got to get one of those.
Yeah. That is awesome. It is a cool show, though. How many episodes have you watched?
We watched. Well, we weren't sure it was the first one and the second one.
Well, the first episode is like a pilot, so it's like an hour and a half long.
That
was
it. Then we watched the first one. The verdict's out. It looks like kind of a mixture of kind of a Star Wars thing and
like a Western sort of.
Well,
what's cool, you would actually like it. You ought to try to find it and watch it. I don't know if you get Netflix or not. It's on there. But,
I gotta get it.
But it's like, what's cool about it is it was like the creator of that show, I forget his name. It was like he recognized what was good about Star Wars.
Yeah.
And the thing that made Star Wars cool was because while it was the future, it looked more realistic because like it was the future, but everything was old.
Everything looked used.
Yeah, everything was kind of crappy and stuff. And that's kind of what this show is, where it's the future and there's like spaceships, they travel to different planets and stuff. But yet inside the ship, it actually looks like how people would set up a spaceship. Like it's not like everything isn't just like all just stainless steel,
white, spick and span.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's dirty, it's kind of it's junky, and they have like a real kitchen with like a wooden table,
dishes in the floor.
I mean, it's like they try to make it real, and it's cool. Like I like that.
They're gonna enjoy this plug you're giving them.
Real, they're old firearms.
Yeah, they use even though it's supposed to be like 500 years in the future, but they use like guns that we think of now, basically like shotguns and things.
A shotgun. Oh, it's 500 years from now. I saw 2515, and they still use a shotgun.
Yeah, exactly.
Where are the ray guns?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 870 will never die. Right?
Yeah, I think there's one in the show.
It looks like it.
Come out there.
The ARs looks like almost a basic AR. I don't know.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. So they might come out with a double barrel.
Yeah, maybe I think so. Actually,
6 foot long.
Yeah, what you think about with guns? I mean, there's not a lot further that they can go. I mean, you have the basic principle of, a you know, a projectile moving really fast that has a certain amount of weight. I mean, I can't think of
what's the status of the smart gun.
Oh,
that I keep hearing so much about.
Oh, we're talking about like.
You know, okay,
you activate it with
your hand, and you're the only one who can shoot it. I mean,
yeah, so that's just ridiculous to me because, and it's funny, because I found this. There was some video that I found somewhere that somebody posted on Facebook, and I put it over on the Hickok45 and Son Facebook. And this kid it was this big story about how this kid, you know, was so awesome. He invented this type of smart gun because he, you know, saw the issues with Sandy Hook and all this kind of stuff. And he was thinking, you know, if they had this technology, this wouldn't have happened and all this kind of stuff. But they fail to realize that it's not like someone is going to grab a smart gun and not realize it's a smart gun, go to shoot a bunch of people, and then be like, oh, it won't work. They're going to go, oh, that's a smart gun. I'm not going to steal that one.
That's right.
I'm going to find one that isn't a smart gun and steal that. Or technology is moving so fast that anyone who has any sense is going to figure out a way to circumvent it.
That's the problem with technology. It can be breached. I mean, yeah, they'll come up with something, some code you punch in. Now I can use it, you know.
Right.
Or what if you get locked out of your smart gun?
Yeah, exactly.
You pull it and the battery's dead or something not working, you know?
Yeah, because that's what we need, more complex parts in a gun, you know?
Yeah, so that'll never fly. That's one reason the NRA and gun rights organizations are totally against that because it's just not going to be perfected. I don't think any of the police agencies trust it. Nobody.
And I'm fine with people making them. If you want to make them and sell them, fine.
And you also get one maybe, and then go, yeah, that's nice. Now put it down and pick up my 1911.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Or I mean, if like you got your smart gun, say you're even on a police force, and something goes wrong with your gun, you grab your partner gets shot or something, he's down, you grab his, can't use his.
Yeah.
It doesn't recognize my fingerprinters.
It's kind of
so many scenarios.
Yeah, and you'd have to have some kind of override code.
Yeah, like a master key for it, sort of. Yeah. But even like, you know, I don't know. I just don't like limiting myself when it's not going to gain that much. You know, like even in a scenario like, let's say that there's a scenario where a cop has been shot and he's down and some guy's like shooting at him, still trying to kill him. You know, like I know if I was a cop and I was being shot at, I would have been hit and I was kind of out of the fight, but some guy was still trying to kill me, you know, and I still had a gun with ammo in it. Like if there was some civilian that looked like he was ready to help and didn't have here, take my gun, like try something, you know.
So many, it's just silly.
Speaking of movie guns, Heat.
Oh man, amazing
great movie.
Oh yeah,
great movie.
Yeah, one of the best in its category.
And De Niro and Val Kilmer shot the hell out of LAPD. They're out there with shotguns against ARs. Sorry, dudes. That's not going to come out good for you.
Yeah, and they had the little the beta mag. You know, they were just tearing it up.
Man. Those were Colt Commandos too. Those weren't. Those weren't modern ARs. Those were Colt Commandos, fully automatic.
They were like really short barrels. Like shorter than like a M4, right? Weren't they like 10-inch barrels or something?
I think they're a little bit shorter than M4, but fully automatic. Close in, you ain't got a chance. Especially with your 12 gauge firing buckshot. I take that back. I think the cops were firing slugs, but
still.
That
reminds me, that's one thing that, you know, since we just did a video on this shotgun called the Vepr 12, which is basically one of the versions of the AK-47 shotgun, basically like the Sega. And you know, it's as cool as the gun is. You know, we kind of discovered that it has a lot of drawbacks. You know, it's kind of awkward to use, and it's big and bulky.
I was about to say that. I'm guessing kind of big too, right?
Yeah, and the magazines are like gigantic.
What's that? You talking with the old Thompson-looking magazine?
Yeah. You're thinking of the AA-12.
The AA-12.
Yeah. No, those aren't available for civilian market for some
Probably
reason.
Good.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it. That's what's crazy is like some shotguns are considered destructive devices, but then others aren't. It's weird.
All shotguns are destructive.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we want it. You know?
AA-12 is a real street sweeper.
Yeah,
I mean, a 50-round magazine, fully automatic.
But the thing is, though, when it comes to the actual use of a shotgun, I don't know that having there's a big advantage to going through some Herculean effort to get like a real high capacity situation. Like even the KSG, are you familiar with that? It's where it's basically a pump shotgun, but it has, you know, the two tubular magazines. I mean, they're okay. They're kind of finicky. There's a lot of weird things about them. You know, like they're a bullpup. So if you have like a malfunction or some kind of hang up, it's kind of a nightmare to try to fix it because it's like up under your shoulder and, you know, and you got to, you know, it's.
Yeah, just to get more rounds in the shotgun. I mean, having a shotgun, you know, Cooper was almost an advocate of even a double barrel. You know, he said you could do worse than just a double barrel. If you need more than 2 shots of 12 gauge, you need to get something belt fed. I mean, and there's a good argument for that. And especially if you move up to just an old standard pump, 5 or 6 shots, you know, 12 gauge.
You can top it off so easily.
Unless you're in battle or something. When are you going to need more than 6 or 7 12 gauge rounds?
Yeah, and the fact that you can just top it off so easily. Yeah, that's the thing too. Just it's nothing to just pop some more shells in there.
And you know, I think it's what you're using it for too. Probably, I'm guessing a shotgun confined space. Even if there's a couple of guys in there, shotgun makes up for short range with that devastating that blast.
Yeah, and if I'm going into a situation where I feel like I need a high capacity shotgun, like a KSG or a Sega or whatever,
A12.
I would rather have a rifle.
Yeah, get a rifle. Yeah. 30 rounds.
I mean, if it come to that, I mean, and then once you're outside again, that shotgun's useless.
Yeah.
So, well, okay. Practically useless.
It does have an application as a very large caliber rifle. You know,
slugs.
You know how often
that's true, man. Man, you hit somebody with a 75 caliber slug, and those things are trucking. They're going like 1,600. Okay, so imagine this, right? So you have a projectile that weighs about an ounce, that is moving as fast as a .357 Magnum.
Ouch! No car.
Well, they're scary when we shoot the gong with one. It's there immediately. It's not like shooting pistol rounds at it most of the time.
And it knocks the hell out of it.
It just knocks that thing, boy. Yeah. It knocks you too.
They had a shooting in Nashville a couple of weeks ago at this restaurant. This should remain nameless. Right there in the middle of Nashville at this. It's a real certain kind of place
where that kind of thing is likely to happen.
Yeah, that's right. hey, you know the place.
Where nobody was surprised, right?
But
it wasn't like the melting pot or anything.
No, it wasn't. No, a little bit different than that. Okay, Anyway, these individuals came up, opened up from their vehicle in the parking lot on another group of. Oh, sorry, I just hit my face on that. This group came up.
Hey, it's padded at least, right?
Oh, thank God. Thank God.
That's why I have that on there.
Thank you. Save my teeth. This grill work. These individuals rolled up and opened up on another group of individuals in that parking lot, and the security guard reached for his gauge, but realized he couldn't deploy it in time, and started engaging him with 9mm fire, and got all 4 rounds before they took off. The only problem I seen, if he ever got the shotgun and he had slugs, he could have been more effective.
Why do I get the sense you're speaking in third person right now?
No, third person.
But
if he got the shotgun with slugs, all of a sudden a car ain't a problem no more.
Yeah,
that's true.
Slugs and shotgun, pretty good anti-car and situation.
Anti-anything.
It's gonna go through that door, through the occupants, and out the other side. That's how they got Bonnie and Clyde.
They shot slugs with them?
They shot gauge. 12-gauge slugs.
Well, and 40 Thompsons.
BARs.
BAR.
But if you know their history now, before anybody gets all teary-eyed, because of that movie with, what's his name?
Warren Beatty
and what's her name?
Faye Dunaway.
Faye Dunaway. Before you get all teary-eyed because of that movie, they were some vicious killing. They killed like 7 police and all that. So
to me, I think that like that. Have you seen that History Channel thing they did recently? That seemed a little more accurate. Probably.
Yes, it definitely.
They're more like a Billy the Kid kind of kind of punk kid that just wrecking havoc.
Exactly. Both had extended criminal records and all that, so they weren't this love couple. No. There were some criminals out there.
I'll tell you what, she was actually pretty hot though. Have you looked at the pictures? I'm serious. Like the pictures of what she actually like. You know, whenever I saw the History Channel thing, we were thinking like, there's no way that she really looks like that.
No.
And I actually looked up the pictures and
not as bad.
When she wasn't killing people,
well,
besides that.
Exactly.
Well, so many of those people that they're almost turned into heroes, like Billy the Kid.
Billy the Kid is like that.
And that's what Ned Buntline did.
Billy the Kid was more famous dead than he ever was alive.
Oh yeah.
I mean, come on.
It's most of the most famous ones. They died died a violent death or something, and that's one reason they were written about.
And that's a big discussion, of course, with Jesse James. And we were watching the thing, that Fox News thing. It seemed real slanted against Jesse James, and it's tough. Like I was saying when we were watching that, it's tough to know the reality of a situation like that, because on one side, it's people who hate him, and on the other side, it's people who love him. So you're going to get an unrealistic portrayal from both of them.
And plus, he's been so mythologized.
Yeah.
Now it's hard to know what the real person was like.
Yeah, it is. But with that one, I don't see that the same as Billy the Kid, because I can see it's a little bit different. It's because the railroad blew up his family.
Oh, true. But he was robbing them black. Well, they should have killed his family though. Okay.
Right, and he was. I kind of put him in the category of John Dillinger, sort of. Like they were doing bad things, but they sort of like had a slight amount of class about it. Like there were certain stories about them to where they were real careful to not hurt innocent people.
Or he wouldn't, if he saw you, Billy the Kid. Jesse James. If he saw you were like a working guy, regular guy, he wouldn't take your money. If you're a rich guy, clean him out. But if you're a regular guy, coming home from the work site,
it's not. He did enough of that apparently to get in good with the media.
Right.
Apparently, he was pretty vicious too.
I think he was.
Part of the problem there was you had the Civil War.
Weird time,
South thing, and so it depends on which side you fell down at the time, and that was a horrible time, especially on those border states. Missouri, Kansas. You had neighbors killing each other and doing really vicious things.
Josie Wells.
Oh yeah,
great movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
One of the best. Yeah,
you're better off in southern Mississippi or northern Illinois because you knew your neighbors were going to be sympathizing with
one side or the other.
South.
Yeah.
But oh man, the Kansas and Missouri were awful.
And the James boys were okay until they went to Northfield, Minnesota.
That's right.
Oh, they picked the wrong day on that one.
Did I ever tell you about how the house that I grew up in? The house that's out there at the range, the log cabin. You've seen it.
Yeah.
It was actually part of some cabins called the Granny White cabins in a certain area of Nashville. That they kind of like tore down and then used the parts that were left from them, that were good, and built the house that you live in and I grew up in. And Jesse James actually stayed there.
Yes,
like
over in what's that place? That area, that town. It's got some building where they stayed at. A big memorial plaques out there.
Yeah, and we actually found an 1860 Colt like up underneath one of the logs. It was all smashed and stuff.
That's right.
And a handwritten letter from
JJ. Yeah, we were out on Whites Creek. There's a placard there. He stayed right in some place right there.
Right across the street from that general store or whatever it is.
That restaurant. It's now a restaurant. Or
it's like a boutique now. Yeah, I'm sure Jesse would have been proud.
Right,
yeah.
Oh, you're talking about that Cajun restaurant?
It's
across the street from
it's right there across from that. He because they were in this area. In fact, they robbed the bank up in Russellville, Kentucky.
He, from what I understand, he just couldn't leave it alone. He could have just laid low and just lived his life, but
then they'd get back at it. That easy money, I guess they couldn't.
And I think it becomes
and
it becomes I think it becomes an adrenaline thing.
Yeah,
you become addicted to that, the rush of that, and you get this idea in your head of I'm this person. I'm the kind of person who does this.
Yeah.
If you go too long without doing that, then you start to feel fake and like you're a fraud, and you kind of have to like prove to yourself that you can do it still.
I also understand he liked to read by himself in the paper too.
Yeah.
He liked that. He liked the adrenaline, the glory. That's a problem. That's how it gets you killed. Too.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you a Jesse James movie. I didn't like it when I first saw it, and it kind of grew on me. That I really like now. It has a real long title. It's like The Assassination of Jesse James by Coward Robert Ford or whatever.
Okay.
Have you seen that one?
I've heard of it.
Okay. It's actually kind of cool. Like it's not an action-packed kind of movie. It's real kind of slow and stuff.
Is that the one with Brad Pitt?
Yeah, Brad Pitt is in there and does a great job acting. I mean, it really does. And Sam Shepard plays Frank.
I love Sam Shepard.
And it really I don't know how realistic it is, but it seems more realistic. Like it's more dry and kind of raw and stuff. Like there's this one scene where there's a shootout that they have in this room, like about this size, and it's really close quarters, and they're like missing each other and stuff, and it's smoky, and it's like
it's possible.
Yeah, and you really like it's kind of random, and you really got the sense like, wow, that really felt like what a real shootout would be like, and it just has a real cool, almost like mystical element to it. I've always liked that movie. But
it's always nice when you have some realism. That's one thing I like about Open Range. I know you've seen Open Range. Where Kevin Costner touches off the shotgun in that bar. And I mean, the sound is authentic. I have loaded and fired a lot of black powder shotgun shells, and it just sounds like it, feels like it, and the smoke fills the room. It's just neat.
The Western, no, Tombstone. There are no other Westerns.
Yeah.
Tombstone. Kurt Russell as why there. The only problem with the shootout was that the shootout at OK Corral was really like a little alley right next to the OK Corral, and
it was behind the what was the place called? The photo shop.
I listed that.
It was
Flies.
Flies photography.
Photography studio.
And from what Wyatt Earp wrote in his book, he says it was like they were real close quarters, firing 1867 single action army revolvers at each other. It was like
in this room, the distance right here.
And he says what probably saved him is he didn't move.
Yeah,
I mean they're blasting, everybody else is ducking and covering. He just didn't move.
Yeah,
which I've heard that before. That in a situation, high stress situation like that, you're gonna shoot the first thing that moves. If you don't move, that kind of works in your favor.
Makes sense.
And he got his coat, his pant leg, all got hit. Yeah, but nothing hit him.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's crazy. I know it's
so random too, though, when something like that happens.
Yeah, exactly.
You probably saw that, in Iraq. I mean, just random.
Oh
stuff.
No, Somalia. I told you about the time we were talking on that at the beach in Somalia.
When it flew over your head that time? Yeah. Tell that story.
Me and this guy are sitting on a berm, which is a pile of sandbags in Somalia, and we're sitting there talking, just like we're talking now, and all of a sudden, what I hear, I can only describe as a 10-pound bumblebee go right past my head. Wow. And I remember looking up like that going, that was a big damn bug. Okay, anyway, like I was saying, I keep talking to the guy, right? And then we keep talking, and then 5 seconds later, and I hear another one just right between us. It was up in between us. I was like, and like I said, what about the Steelers?
Those are.
I was like, whoa, these bugs are getting bad out here. Let's go inside.
They're traveling at 3,000.
They were 7.62 by 51 bugs. But later on we realized, I went, hey, dude, I think somebody was shooting at us.
Oh man! And one could have popped you on the head or the ear,
that close
on the finger. You just get the weird stuff, just like
completely random.
Wyatt Earp. He came very close to getting hit, but he did.
Yeah. In the movies, it's always like, I got shot in the chest.
No.
Easily you get shot through the hand or the finger or whatever,
Dude.
Kinds of weird. Well, the movies are filled with those kinds of bizarre. One of the biggest myths in the movies, it's always so funny, and you're a Western fan, and all the whole culture of the Western movie world is based on it, like who's the faster draw. And so many people who are not around firearms. And actually, I think you almost need to have kind of extensive experience with firearms to appreciate how silly so much of that is. For one thing, there weren't that many face-to-face shootouts in the West.
That hardly ever happened.
Rare.
Like, why would you volunteer to do that?
Yeah, okay, I'm going to meet you out in the middle of the street and we're going to shoot each other.
Because you knew that both of you would probably get shot. Unless it's like in the movies, as soon as that piece of lead touches you, you are totally immobilized. It doesn't matter if your gun is out of your holster, you got it cocked, and you're ready to fire too, it's over. As soon as it touches you. Especially back then, most of those bullets were moving slowly. You prepare with something.
That's right.
And so, you've probably heard and maybe even experienced that kind of thing. I've read about people in those high-stress situations, either in police gun battles or in combat and war, where you might take a round and not even know you were hit until it's over.
This guy told me in Afghanistan. Biggest problem we got with the M4 is that no stopping power.
Yeah.
A lot of I'm falling apart. Very high velocity.
Yeah.
Very accurate, but no stopping power. That's the biggest problem that we got with the M4 rifle.
Yeah.
This guy in Afghan fired on a bad guy, and he says he hit him 3 separate times, and the guy just kept firing.
Yeah.
So, and then he turned to the guy with the Bravo 240, which is a 7.62 machine gun.
Yeah.
He opened up, he was gone.
No problem, yeah.
So, that's a big problem.
But you could still, and of course, it's not exactly a pea shooter, even the 5.56.
Yeah.
You could actually be hit by that and stay in the fight. And you could be hit with a 45 cold slug unless it was like maybe dead center or in the forehead or something. And you could get caught in the side, the shoulder, almost anywhere. And if you're in the midst of drawing and about to shoot, you're still going to probably get your shot off with a lot of hit. And that's the thing.
And even if you
shot
win,
placement,
they're both dead. They're both dead.
Even if you win, back in those days, a gut shot was a death sentence. So even if you win, you still might die a few days later.
If you're both pretty good with gun. Now, if it was one guy, a really professional gunman, is pretty fast, and this other clod has never even hardly picked up a gun, it's one thing. But it'd be like if you and I. We're going to start in a low ready position with our AR, and when the bell sounds, we're going to shoot each other. Well, we're both going to get shot.
That's right.
You know, and so they knew that. Anybody who's experienced.
Didn't Wild Bill say that it wasn't about being quick; it was about being accurate.
Deliberate, and Wyatt Earp was big on that too.
That was what
cool and being accurate.
Wasn't that was? I remember watching something where Wild Bill talked about, or like he wrote about, I guess, and they were narrating it about why he was so good in gunfights, and it said that like there was a certain point to whenever he felt like whenever it was going down, when it was happening, he would actually get calmer and steadier, and he would just pull and just calm and collect and just shoot.
The reading. Also, what's that movie that Eastwood made with Gene Hackman?
Oh, Unforgiven?
Unforgiven.
Yeah.
Gene Hackman's character said the same thing. He said he was quoting Wild Bill. He said, if you get fast, all you got to do is hurry up and miss.
That's right.
It's about the guy. If you run into some guy who could keep his head and take his time, you got a problem.
Yeah.
Well, that was supposedly Wyatt Earp's line with it. Take your time in a hurry.
Yeah.
That was his line.
Well, think about it. There's a lot of parallels between that. Take your time in a hurry, and then that Army saying about slow is smooth, smooth is fast. It's kind of the same thing when you think about it.
But I think Hickok made a 75-yard shot, didn't he, once?
Yeah, he did on Bill Tutman or somebody.
75 yards with a ball and cap and ball.
That's crazy.
Holy dude!
But smooth as fast. And when I used to do compete in the IPSC matches, Jeff Wally. He's a big old guy. He's almost as tall as I am. And I guess it'd been the same for anybody that was big. But I'd watch him. He was really good. He won several state matches, and moving through stages of fire and everything. And if you watched him, you wouldn't think he was necessarily that fast, but he was just exceedingly smooth on his draw and his movements and everything. And when he finished the stage, if it was a 30-second stage, 40-second stage, whatever, his time was better than anybody else's. But it's just smooth.
And that comes from practice and training. I mean, there's no substitute.
Yeah.
No substitute for that. And especially in a life and death situation, the training, I'm here to tell you, training kicks in because you're not going to be thinking. Yeah. I'm here to tell you, your mind's going to be a complete blank. And then it'll be muscle memory, all of it.
Yeah.
And sight pictures, trigger squeeze, breathing. That's why they in the Army keep emphasizing repetitive training, because under duress, you're not going to be thinking. I'm here to tell you, your mind's going to be a complete blank. But you're going to do what you're supposed to do, though.
You'll default to whatever you've been trained to do, whatever you do all the time.
Because my theory has always been, I've never been in combat like you have. My theory has always been part of the problems in modern conflict is that our body doesn't understand guns, basically, right? Our body only understands hand-to-hand conflict. So it does things that attribute to making that better and not manipulating tools and weapons as easily. So that's why repetitive motion is so important, probably, because your body doesn't because really, you think about it, it'd be better, and because a lot of times in a self-defense situation, you need to manipulate some kind of object, like a gun or something like that, something complicated. So really, you have a better chance of survival if you're more in tune to your motor skills, actually, versus the other way around. But just your body doesn't know that.
I think that's something else too that's going to have a real shock effect on people is how loud weapons are. I think that's one for me. That was one of the biggest things. How usually at the range, you got your earplugs on, okay, nice and calm, breathe, shoot. No, when you're out there, it's a real thing. Either out here or anywhere else, you don't have your earplugs in. You fire that weapon, you realize how loud weapons are. And that can be shocking.
Yeah, and it's easy to say you're going to keep your cool. Like I've been in situations where I had this friend that made the mistake of letting him look at my gun, and I had my back to him, and all of a sudden, so he's like handling my 1911, and all of a sudden, bam, it goes off. And it was like time just stopped. You know what I'm saying? It was like time just stopped for a second, and it was just like, what just happened? You know, it's like you're thinking regular, but like everything is in slow motion. It's like you're seeing like little dust particles in the air, and it's just like, and then you kind of like. You got to come back and okay, everything is fine. You know,
this is another case where training's everything. I was in the selection and training for this unit that I was going to be going to, and part of the training was you went to this shooting house. Right. And up until that moment, I thought, oh, yeah, no problem. I got it. You know, I have this TV image. I can handle a gun. I can fire a couple of shots. I'll do a combat roll, you know, pie corner, all that. Yeah, no problem. And so we're firing at these targets. And then this guy walks up behind me and he had a 44. And I'm blasting away with this MP5. Bam, bam, bam. I'm thinking, yeah. And then all of a sudden, he comes up behind me and caps off around that 44. And I was like, holy Jesus, get down, don't get back up. Get down, don't get back up. Oh. So until that moment, I would have sworn I was, you know, SEAL Team 6 ready. Until that that bit of reality hit. And then all of a sudden, I was crapless. Now, he called a halt. He stopped the range. And he said, called everybody together and said, okay.
What did we learn, boys and girls?
That's right. He said, that's good. That's good that you did that here. It's good that you did that here because if we'd been somewhere else doing something else and then you reacted that way, it might not turn out so good. So that was good learning. It was a good reality check for me. So training is everything. Training is everything.
I think guns are it's hard to really test this experiment, but I think guns are louder when they're actually fired at you because all the sound is coming directly at you.
Should be a little bit louder,
Yeah,
I would think so. Wow. A little bit scarier too.
That's one thing I've always talked about I like the concept of a rifle. I go back and forth, rifle, pistol, or rifle, shotgun. You know, for say the bedroom gun. Of course, I have a pistol handy, but you know, as far as a long gun, you know, if you really want something bigger, better, you know, had the time to grab it and everything. Yeah, it's hard to argue. There's that AR-15 sitting there with 30 rounds and everything. If it really hit the fan, but then again, the noise. If you ever have to fire an AR in your house,
oh my God,
is your brain going to be jello? Or you know? You know, and that kind of leads me back to the shotgun or even an AK or something a little slower because the blast of an AR, it just
it's so intense.
I know when I was at the range with that Henry, I had the Tabor on one side,
the Tavor,
that Israeli ultra modern weapon on one side. I don't know where this guy got that from, but and then the guy on the other side was firing a M4, and the muzzle blast from that AR was just whoa! I was like, whoa, shit, whoa, bad. You know,
you couldn't even hear the Henry.
I mean,
it makes no sound.
Little small bullet generate all that muzzle blast. I mean, jeez,
that's why
that's a good argument for the Henry in a bedroom.
There you go.
And I'm like, bang, whoa, bang. Okay,
you could do worse than a lever gun. I know there are people who swear by that. You know. It wouldn't have to be a Henry, but it could be any kind of, you know, like a 45 slug, a 44 special.
A 45-70, you know.
Well, that would, then you got your velocity back. But you
it's
know,
not as loud as an AR.
With a 44, you know, even a 45 Colt, if you've got it coming out of a barrel, a long barrel, I mean, you got some serious velocity, and yet still don't have that ear-piercing, you know, sound.
And it does the job. I mean, that Henry, best piece of 19th century equipment out there, but it does the job. It does the job.
That's the thing. Lever guns are. I mean, you weren't unarmed back in the Western days. Lever guns are pretty impressive. What you can do with them. I mean, the Henry is the only one that has really any limitation, and it's only the just the loading of it takes a little more time.
And still compared to those muzzle loaders they were
firing.
Okay, no problem. And I told you about that guy, that Indiana guy from the Civil War. He wrote in his diary that they were in the middle of Georgia, and the Confederates came across this open field against a whole battalion armed with Henry rifles, and he said he thought they're committing suicide. Committing suicide. That's what happened. So, I mean, open Napoleonic tactics across an open field against lever action guns.
Which, you know, that brings me to something that I was thinking about earlier today. Okay, like, you know, in the Terminator movie, right? So the whole thing is basically the Terminator comes back to the past to take out like in the first one, Sarah Connor, so that she doesn't
have the guy that later kills him. Yeah.
Here's what I don't understand. How come he didn't go back to like Civil War times?
Kill her great granddad.
Yeah, exactly. So like, why did he go back to a time when there were still weapons that could damage him?
You know what? Who wrote that? Let's get him on the phone.
It should have gone back to like the Western days, right, or something. You know,
they did have a movie that did have that. It was called Time Cop.
I don't think I've seen that.
It had, I think it was Jean-Claude Van Damme, but it starts out, this guy, they go back in time. Time travel is for real. And they go back in time, and the movie opens in 1863. It shows these Confederate guys with a big wagon full of gold. And they're riding, it's raining, and they got the buckboard full of gold, and everybody on horseback, right, with their black powder cap and ball pistols, right?
Yeah.
And then the dude just standing on the road with his hands behind his back. And they roll up and they stop and he says, "Can I help you?" and he's like, "Give me the gold." And they look at each other and start, "What?" And he says, "Give me the gold if you want to live." And again, there are like 6 of them, and this one guy supposedly by himself. And they start laughing. They go, "Why should we do that?" And he pulls out these 2 MP5s. I said, "All right." And they look at him like, "What's that?"
Yeah, exactly.
And then he opens up and just wastes them all. I was like, "Hey."
Wow.
So yeah, that's why time travel should never happen.
Yeah.
That's why it should never happen.
Exactly. And plus, and the thing is, we already know that we'll never discover time travel, because if we would have discovered it, then someone would have come back and said, "Hey, we've got to make sure that we don't invent this. It's going to cause problems."
We'd have known by now,
Yeah, exactly. Someone would have come.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Plus, they did this experiment. This is like a for real thing, I'm pretty sure, where they made this big announcement that one day when we invent time travel, we're going to send someone to come back and visit like a certain date in the near future. And then they waited and no one showed. So, so they found out that we never invent time travel.
The more you think about time travel, the crazier it gets. Your brain gets twisted up.
That's why I think it's probably not possible to go backwards in time.
Only forward.
Because you think about it, that's the thing. Nature doesn't seem to allow for paradoxes.
You can't go back to a time that was before the materials were available that you made the machine that you travel in.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's too much chance for messing stuff up.
Right.
But then again, a few thousand years ago, there were guys sitting in around a room like this talking about how the Earth couldn't be round.
Well, it's true. Yeah.
You fall off the edge.
Well, these guys talking about the Earth is round.
Well, you know what's weird is theoretically you could see the past, because think about this. All right, let's say that if you somehow could fly 10 light years out into space and then use some kind of insanely telescopic lens and look back at the Earth and zoom in on a street, and then you could see 10 years ago what's happening.
Yeah, the light which we see from the stars now is actually from the past.
Yeah.
Right.
So
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. My head's hurting already.
Yeah.
Whoa,
that's crazy.
Dude.
Yeah.
But no, we should mess with it because it's too much that can go wrong.
Yeah.
Because we're people. That's why don't mess with it, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah, no, we're not qualified.
I would love to go back though, about 1860s, 1870s. You know, pick up a few firearms.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Go
man.
to a shop, a hardware store, and buy a few Colts.
Brand new for $10. Okay,
yeah,
$10.
that's
right.
There you go.
And invest in that Apple company.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
The fruit company. That's right. That's what he called it.
That's right.
And I love that scene from Forrest Gump.
Gump.
You know,
That's right.
he's like, and they said I don't have to worry about money anymore. It's like one less thing.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, I guess we blabbed down long enough.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's talk a couple more hours and make them listen.
Yeah, that's right. I usually try to at least not let it get, quite past an hour and a half.
Not quite.
I don't know if they can handle us for that long.
We'll just stay here and talk for another couple hours and let them wonder what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We'll talk about them. How's that?
There you go. That's right. Yeah, that's right. We'll just
Well, I
say
appreciate you letting me come in and chat with you and Derrick. I watch Derrick and listen to Derrick all the time. It's kind of fun to be here live, give him a hard time.
that's right.
No problem.
Found his obsession with 1911.
Yeah,
Yeah, what's wrong with me?
that's right. We'll have to do that again sometime. It's fun. All right. Well, appreciate coming on again, and
happy to be here.
We'll do it again soon, as always.
Let me know.
And you'll see us on the YouTube. And
yeah.
But man, I appreciate coming to the NRA show. Though.
Dude, man, happy to be there.
That was awesome, man. Like,
and all 12 of my fans.
Yeah, that's right. I actually heard from some people on YouTube that said they were glad to get to meet you and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
okay.
And there's some people that wanted to meet. There's another guy who makes YouTube videos. His screen name is Such00, and he's real. A lot of people love him. He's an awesome dude. He does a lot of like survival stuff and gun reviews. But he listens to the show and he likes you. So he was actually asking me about you. Wanted to meet you and stuff, but so we'll have to do that
I like
sometime.
when the lady taking the pictures was like, now who are you again?
Oh, yeah.
I am man that follows John. That's me. That's me. Yeah.
The security.
Yeah, like that guy thought I was just security. I'm like, okay, let me tell you something. These are the two guys who need the least amount of security that you're ever going to see. Now, I think these guys are good.
Think about that. We should introduce them as security.
That's right. Yeah.
That guy thinks, you're their security.
Yeah.
Sure.
Bodyguard.
Yeah, it worked out great though at the meet and greet. You were got to warm them up for us.
That's right, dude. Hey,
no
no problem. That line was like crazy. I was like, how far back does this go? Dude, like the dude from New Zealand. That's a fan.
Yeah.
That's a fan.
Oh yeah,
That guy was a fan.
Yeah.
He flew from New Zealand to come here. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I got this images of these islands out in the Pacific. They're like, wait, hold up, Hickok's on.
Yeah. They're mail order VHS tapes.
There's a lot of folks around the planet that like guns. It's great.
Imagine that.
It's great. We always think about just our country's gun rights, but it's so great to see lots of people in the world wanting to get their gun rights back. Because to me, it's a human right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what your ethnic background, where you happen to be positioned on planet Earth.
That's right.
None of that matters. It's like everyone deserves the right to reasonable means.
First, think about the countries around the world through time where the genocide has existed, people slaughtered and whatever, and it may not be all neat and clean if they had firearms, but at least they'd have a chance.
Yeah, like all this is going on in the Sudan. They can get AKs.
Oh yeah,
no problem. They're just slaughtering all these people.
Yeah.
But the idea of like, if those other people had AKs, it'd be so much worse.
Right.
There almost needs to be like some kind of. If it wasn't for the fact that the various shadow governments of the world would make you disappear, but how awesome would it be if you could get a bunch of AKs and just dump them in some of these areas?
That's what the Russians did. Yeah. Here you go, AKs.
Yeah,
like in Somalia, you
to the wrong people.
Of course. What in Somalia, you could get an AK for like $15.
Yeah,
in the market. Here you go. Man. Now ammunition be something else though.
Yeah. We need to work out with Century Arms or some kind of like some kind of like foundation. AKs for the good people of the world.
That's right. Airdrops.
Yeah,
air by people.
Yeah.
It's like the Liberator pistol during World War II.
Yeah. Exactly.
One single shot.
Yeah.
Bunch of AKs.
You could drop those things, little mini Dracos.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a micro, actually.
Okay, I'll finally say it up. There you go.
There you go.
I've been lauding look.
That's right.
All right.
All right. We better let them go.
Yeah, I guess we'll let them go for real this time.
They're going to get bored with us.
Yeah, they got food cooking and they're trying to get something to eat. So we'll let them go. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys, everybody for listening, and we'll do it again.